In this episode, I'm joined by one of my favorite people in podcasting, podcast maven Alex Sanfilippo, who talks about his presentation at Podfest Expo 2023 on 5 ways to grow your podcast organically. Hello, everyone. Tom Fox back with another episode, and I'm thrilled today to have Alex Sanfilippo on today's pod to talk about Podfest Expo 2023. So, Alex, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me today.
Tom, it's always a pleasure, always an honor. I feel like I've had the opportunity to speak to you like 5 or 6 times, and I've enjoyed each of them. So thank you for having me today.
So, could you tell us what is your role or roles, probably more appropriately, in the world of podcasting?
First and foremost, I am a podcast host, and I believe that's the ultimate thing, right? Like we want it. Whatever you do out, like in addition to that, podcast host is like the foundation. So I am more well known for being a podcast software creator. So I've created softwares like Podmatch, Podcast SOP, and now Pod Lottery. But again, the foundation of that is I'm a host first and foremost, an educator in the podcasting space. And my show is even about podcasting, which, Tom, is really funny because if someone's in podcasting, I'm like, oh, that's so cool, I'll check it out. If they're not in podcasting, I mentioned my host, I'm like, what's your podcast about? I'm like, podcasting. And they're like, oh, okay, never going to listen to that. But again, I'm through and through just a podcasting guy. This is what I do full time and just do my best to create solutions for other podcasters because what we do is a labor of love. And I want to make sure that we're able to do it as often as we possibly can to maximize the impact it has and hopefully ultimately make the world a better place one listener at a time.
You communicate that labor of love as well as anyone I know. So, all I have to say is keep doing it. What is your talk at Podfest Expo 2023 about? And could you give us maybe a little teaser?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this talk. So I'm going to talk about 5 simple ways to organically grow your podcast is the actual topic. I think that's actually the title they went with as well for it. And the whole idea is to look at ways to actually get your show to be bigger without having to spend money on ads or placements or anything like that, right? There's nothing wrong with those, but a lot of podcasters, they're on a budget or they don't have a budget, right? They're doing it as a hobby, but they'd love for their show to grow. And so what I did is I just really focused on the key elements that I've found for my own show that has grown completely organically, but also other people that I've met that are just doing really well in the podcasting space and have really grown their show in an organic way. I just really started talking to them, learning what they did. And I put together 5 key things I think are going to be extremely helpful. And my favorite part about it, Tom, is that they're practical. There's nothing where I'm going to tell you, hey, this will take you 4 years to be able to implement and work on. And here's like a real deep strategy. No, these are things, virtually all 5 things I'll share could happen within the next week for you. And I'm not saying your show is going to go from 100 listeners to 1,000 in 1 week, but you can implement them all immediately, which will set you up for long-term success. And I think that organic podcast growth is such a valuable thing because it proves that, you know what, you are leading with value and it's serving somebody. So more people are coming to check it out. So I don't know if that's enough. If you want to dive deeper, I can, but I'm super excited about, and that's the overview, if you will.
No, that's perfect, Alex. So could you tell me what you hope to get out of Podfest Expo 2023?
So I'm a product of this community, if you will. So for me, like I got my start in podcasting and immediately went to this event and I found a community, I found a network, I found people that I care about. First and foremost, the first thing I want to get out of it is I want to be in the community. I want to meet more people I've never met before. I want to actually connect with people I've only had interviews with online, right? Like I want to get that in-person hangout. That's what I'm like really going for. And I love that. It's just a building community, making introductions. That's like my favorite thing. In addition, I always learn a ton. Like I am a student of podcasting. So I love being able to sit in some sessions and I always pick a few key ones. Like I try not to book it back to back because if I learn too much, and Tom, you might know this too, you're a really smart guy, but if you learn too much, you don't implement anything, right? You come back with like a notebook and you're like, I'm overwhelmed, so I'll do nothing. So I pick a few key sessions. It's kind of like my little hack that I know there's something there I want to learn and implement. And I'll go in there, I'll just dive deep. When I come back, my goal is to implement anything that I learned that I know I need to implement before the next event that I'm going to be going to. That way I can start off with a clean slate again. But yeah, so to answer your question, a long way, first and foremost, networking, introducing people, meeting people, getting to hang out. And then the next thing is learning something that's going to really further my craft as a podcaster. And hopefully in turn, I'll be able to teach and inspire some other people with the same information.
Alex, I'm greatly looking forward to your presentation. I always learn a lot when I hear from you. So I look forward to seeing you later this month at Podfest Expo 2023, January 26 to 29 in Orlando. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me.
Can't wait, Tom. Looking forward to it. You all take care.
This is Tom Fox again. I hope you plan to join Alex and myself at Podfest Expo 2023 in Orlando on January 26th through 29th. I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll join me again.